Hi, my name is Tally and welcome to this yoga class. We're going to be focusing on stretching and strengthening the hamstrings, so those massive muscles all up the back of your legs. So this will be perfect if you've been sitting a lot, which I definitely have. If you practice yoga in alignment with your menstrual cycle or the lunar cycle, then I would recommend this class for in your summer or autumn phase. Although if you're practicing in your autumn, do be careful because in the second half of your menstrual cycle, the ligaments are more elastic. So just go easy and really pay attention to your edge to make sure you don't overstretch and hurt yourself. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, don't worry. I will put some information in the description box all about practicing yoga with your menstrual cycle. And you can do this practice at any time that feels good for you. We're going to be going nice and slow. We're going to be building some heat in the legs. And if at any time this doesn't feel right for you today, then you can just pause and come back to it another day. So grab yourself any props you might need. Today I'm using a cushion to pad my knees, or a folded up blanket would also work well. Set up your space, maybe light a candle, put on your favorite playlist, get into some comfy clothes, make sure you've got lots of water nearby, and I really hope you enjoy this class. So let's start seated today. You could even sit up on your cushion if that feels more comfortable for you. Grounding down through your sit bones, arriving on your mat and in this practice. Maybe closing your eyes or bringing your gaze to the floor to bring your awareness into your body. Noticing how you're feeling today, how your energy levels are. Anything that you're bringing from your day onto the mat. Just observing. Now starting to deepen your breath right down into your belly. And in tuning into the body like this, you're able to listen and respect the cues that it gives you. So if at any point during this practice you feel any niggles or tweaks or pain, listen to and respect your edge in these poses. And just back off a little bit. And now we'll really gradually start to bring into some movement, taking it nice and easy. We're going to start with a seated cat-cow, so bringing your hands onto your knees. On an inhale, lifting your chest, lifting your gaze, just a small movement to start with. And on an exhale, rounding your back, tucking your chin. I'll turn to the side so that you can see what my back is doing. But just continue this flow at your own pace, with your own breath. Using this movement to explore more how your body's feeling today. Then releasing that movement, coming back to center, and coming to all fours, however works best for you. You can roll over your knees, maybe bring your legs to one side. Having your hands underneath your shoulders, your knees underneath your hips, a flat back. And engage your core here, so you're hugging your lower belly in to support your lower back. Now extending your right leg out long behind you, keeping your toes on the floor just now. And noticing how this stretch feels all across the back of your leg. Maybe really gently rocking backwards and forwards, not bouncing. Nothing hard about this, just exploring approaching it with curiosity. And then extending your left arm, the opposite arm, reaching your fingers away. Maybe this is enough for you, a long line between your fingers and that back heel, keeping your neck neutral. Or maybe if you want to fire it up a little bit, play with your balance, keeping your core engaged, lifting up that back foot. Firmly pressing with all points of contact with the ground, reaching your fingers and that heel away from each other, coming back at any point. And then everyone releasing down, releasing that knee back down as well. Maybe give your hips a little bit of a sway here, maybe stretch out your wrists. And then we'll come to the other side. So your right leg goes back, noticing how this leg feels, noticing if there's any differences. Does this leg feel any tighter, any looser? There'll always be differences in how you sit, differences in your anatomy compared to everyone else. So just tuning into how it feels for you, not worrying about anyone else here. And then when you've had enough playing here, reaching the right arm out, reaching your fingertips away, keeping your gaze down. Once you've got your balance and your core is engaged, maybe lifting up that back heel. You might notice a little bit of a shake, a little bit of a tremble, building a little bit of heat in the body. Keep that back foot flexed, so it's like you're standing on a wall behind you. Still breathing deep here. And then dropping your hand down, dropping that leg down. Making any movements that feel good. Now stepping both feet forwards, coming to a forwards fold, having your knees really generously bent here. And you can grab your opposite elbows, let your head hang, let your neck relax, let your jaw relax. Really generous bend in your knees here. We're not aiming for perfect straight legs. Maybe take a little sway from side to side. Noticing how it feels to transfer weight from one leg to the other. And then coming back through center, still in this fold, and have a play of really bending one leg and then really bending the other. The opposite leg might come to almost straight. Just see what this feels like. Noticing the edge, respecting it, not pushing too far. Noticing where you feel any sensations. It might illuminate where there's any tightness for you. And once you've done an even amount on each leg, releasing that, coming back through center. And on an inhale, coming all the way up to standing, hands high. Exhale, hands together in front of your heart space, grounding down through your feet. We're going to do a sun salutation to warm up here, and you will need your cushion, so have that handy. On an inhale, reaching your hands up high. On an exhale, coming back to that fold, knees still bent really generously. Stepping your right foot back and dropping that knee down onto your cushion or onto your padding. Setting up your legs for a low lunge. And when you're ready, sweeping your hands high. You can leave your hands high here. You can bring your hands onto your knee, onto your hips, onto your belly, onto your heart. Wherever feels good for you. We're really focusing on the legs today, so you don't need to strain to keep your arms up, but you can if you want to. Not sinking too deep here, just noticing how your hip flexors are feeling today. One more breath here. And then bringing both hands down to frame that front foot, tucking your back toes and stepping back to plank. So you might come to your knees first, you might stay on your knees in fact, or you might lift your knees up and come to your plank with knees up. If your knees are up, hitting your heels back, and maybe again doing that gentle rocking movement. Make sure you're not locking out your elbows here as well. One more breath here. And then lowering down onto your belly. Maybe your knees come down first. Moving your cushion out the way. Bringing your hands slightly forwards and wide. Inhaling up to cobra, lifting your chest, lifting your chin. Exhaling down. Bring your hands back by your ribs, using your hands to push yourself up through all fours, tucking your toes under, lifting your hips to downward dog, keeping your knees bent really generously here. Focusing on getting length in your sides, lifting your hips as high as you can. A long line between your wrists, your hands, and your sit bones. Getting this shape first, and then keeping your back exactly how it is, maybe starting to walk your dog, straightening one leg and then the other. Maybe your heel comes to the floor, maybe it doesn't. Just accepting your body how it is. One more breath here. And then stepping your right foot in between your hands and bringing your left knee down onto your cushion. Taking your time to get here, setting your legs up. You can even leave your hands on the floor in your low lunge if this feels good, or bringing your body upright. Noticing how it feels on this side. Now we're starting to build a little bit of heat, warming the body up. One more breath here. And then bringing both hands to frame that front foot, this time stepping the back foot forwards to come to your fold again. Knees still bent. Release your head, release your neck. Full breath here. And then on your next inhale, all the way up to standing. Exhale, hands to heart. Pause here. Check in with your body. Maybe take a sip of your drink before we come to the other side. So when you're ready, on an inhale, hands high. Exhale, fold. Left leg back this time and down onto that cushion. Setting up your legs for your low lunge again. Keeping your hands down this time. And then once you're set up in your lunge and you're quite comfortable, keeping your hips square as they are, start to shift your weight back and straighten through that front leg. You can keep your toes down, or you might lift up onto the heel of that front foot and keep a micro bend in that front leg. Coming into your half Hanuman, your half splits. You're drawing that right hip back. Trying to keep your hips square. And don't worry if your leg doesn't come straight. Your half Hanuman might look something like this. That is absolutely fine. as long as you're getting the nutrition from the pose. And you might find that as you hold this pose for a little bit longer, your body might invite you to straighten that leg a little bit more. But don't worry if it doesn't. Your body is your best teacher, not me. One more breath here. And then really slowly rolling forwards into your low lunge again. Pausing here for a moment. Then bringing your hands to frame that front foot and stepping back to your version of plank. Maybe you stay with your knees down this time. Full breath here. Hitting your heels back if you're up on your toes, if your knees are raised. And then everyone lowering down onto your belly. Hands slightly forwards and wide. Inhaling cobra. Exhaling down. And transitioning all the way back to your downward dog. Really taking your time to get there. Making any adjustments you need to. Maybe widening your feet slightly. Keeping that bend in your knees. Shoulders away from your ears. And then walking the dog again. Straightening one leg and then the other. Keeping your back long and your hips raised. One more breath here. And then sending your left foot in between your hands. Right knee comes down onto that cushion. Setting up for your low lunge first, getting comfortable here. And then if this is feeling okay, slowly shifting your weight backwards, creeping your way back, taking your time to get there. Keeping a bend in that front leg. Noticing if you're holding or clenching anywhere. Your jaw, your brow, your toes. Finding a comfortable place for you. Maybe there's a little bit of challenge, but no pain. And then hanging out there until maybe your body invites you to go deeper. Maybe it's not going to happen today, and that is okay. Maybe it's never going to happen, and that is also okay. We are all different. One more breath here. Make it a deep one. And then start to shift your weight forwards again, bending through that front leg, coming into your low lunge. And then planting your palms, stepping that back foot forwards, taking as many steps as you need to come to your forward fold again. Tuning into your body. Noticing how it's feeling. On your next inhale, releasing your arms down and then sweeping them all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart. Pausing. Taking a sip of your drink. Making any movements that feel good. Grounding down through your feet. And when you're ready, on an inhale, sweeping your hands high, And on an exhale, sitting down into chair pose, bending your knees, keeping your core engaged just like we did at the start. Like you're sitting down into a chair. And if this is not working for you, you can come to a wall. That works just as well. Maybe you need to straighten, come out for this for a moment, and then go back in. And then a little bit more challenge, maybe try coming up onto your tiptoes. You might need to hold on to something to get your balance. Waking up those legs, embracing a little bit of heat, embracing a little bit of fire. And then releasing all the way forwards into a fold. Making any movements that feel good to release your legs out. And then making your way all the way up to standing again. How's that feeling? Approaching this with curiosity, a little bit of playfulness. Okay, when you're ready, on an inhale, sweeping your hands high. Exhale, coming back down into your chair for another round. I'm not going to leave you here as long this time. This time, shifting your weight into your left foot and maybe picking your right toes up. Maybe your toes stay on the floor, maybe your foot lifts up. And then reaching that right leg back to come to your high lunge. So that front leg is bent, the right heel is lifted, core is engaged so you're not overly long in your belly. Maybe your hands are high, maybe your hands are on your hips, on your belly, on your heart. Grounding through your legs. Getting your balance, might be a little bit wobbly. And then make sure you've got a little bit of space in front of you. You might need to shift back a bit. And you've got options here. We'll all reach our hands up high above your head. Option one is to shift your weight forwards over that front leg, like you're leaning away, like you're going to take off, firing up that front leg. Make sure that front knee is over your toes. Option two, if you're feeling brave today and strong, is to come up into your warrior three. So shifting that weight into that front leg, lifting up your back foot. If you're doing this, keeping your hips level, keeping that back foot flexed, maybe holding on to something for balance. Maybe you're still in your high lunge, your humble warrior, leaning your weight forwards. Wherever you are, waking up that front leg, keeping your neck long. And then we'll all come back, stepping that right foot just a little bit closer. That front leg is still fired up. We're going to come into a pyramid, so shortening your stance a little bit. Bringing your hands behind your back, clasping your hands onto your elbows, onto your arms. And your feet are hip width apart here, so you're not like on a tightrope. Your feet are like they're on train tracks. Having a micro bend in that front leg. Keeping your chest lifted and your neck long, starting to fold forwards over that front leg. Just finding that point where you can feel some sensation and then stopping there. Trying to keep your hips straight, so you're drawing that left hip back. Keeping a little bend in that front knee. Don't worry about what this looks like. You're not trying to get your face onto your leg. Just feeling how this feels in your body. Noticing where you feel sensations. Breathing deep here. And just as before, as we hold this pose, As you get comfortable, as your body trusts that you're not going to do anything rash, maybe it will invite you to fold a little further, maybe not. One more breath here. And then bringing yourself all the way upright, stepping that back foot forwards, shaking out your legs, making any movements that feel good, taking a little breather. And then we'll do all that on the other side. So grounding down through your feet, you know what's coming this time. Inhaling to sweep your hands high, exhaling to sit down into your chair. Last chair, I promise. Then grounding down through your right foot, maybe lifting your left toes up. Can you balance here, or can you keep your toes on the floor? And then sending that left leg back, coming into your high lunge, making any adjustments you need to get your stance comfortable. And then we'll we already have. We'll power up that right leg, engage those muscles, recruit them all. Sweeping your hands high if they're not already there. And then either shifting your weight forwards over that front leg, reaching away with your fingertips and that back heel, or maybe shifting forward so much that that back foot comes up and you come into your warrior three. And this might be different on this side. Make sure your knee isn't coming inwards or coming out. Keep it stacked on top of your ankle. One more deep breath here. If you're in your warrior three, stepping back down now, and then dropping your arms, shortening your stance, straightening through that front leg, setting up for your pyramid. Keeping your feet hip width apart, bringing your hands behind your back, clasping your hands. Lengthening through the crown of your head like someone's got a hair on the top of your head and it's pulling you tall. Keeping your core engaged and then slowly starting to fold. Using your hands at your back to notice if your back starts to round. Keep it flat. Keep your back long. And only folding as far as you feel that sensation in that front leg. And if it feels too much, if it's painful at all, just backing up a little bit until you find a comfortable place again. Reaching the crown of your head away, noticing if you're clenching your toes, your jaw, releasing them. Still breathing deep. One more deep breath here. And then lifting up really gradually. Stepping that back foot forwards, shaking out your legs, making any movements that feel good. Taking a breather. We'll start to cool it down a little bit now. So when you're ready, on an inhale, hands high for one more time. Exhaling, fold. Knees still bent. But maybe you'll find that you can get your legs a little bit straighter. Maybe not. Releasing deep here. Maybe coming back to that sway. Maybe stepping your feet a little bit wider if that feels good. Maybe closing your eyes. One more breath in this fold. Enjoy it. And then making your way to sit down on your bum, however feels good for you. Maybe you just bend your knees and sit down. Maybe you come to kneeling first. And sitting up on your cushion or on your blanket, if that feels good. And having your legs out ahead of you. Getting comfortable here. And keeping a little bend in your legs. Flexing your toes up towards your face. And this itself might be enough for you. I actually find this really challenging to sit upright with my legs out in front of me. My hamstrings are pretty tight. But if this is feeling okay for you, maybe coming to a fold, first making sure that you're sitting as tall as you can, and then it's like you're coming up and over your thighs, up and over your belly. So your lower back is still pretty flat. Bringing your hands onto your legs, maybe onto the floor. Letting your neck relax, your jaw relax. Keeping a little bend in your knees. And noticing where your body tells you to stop. And when it might invite you to go a little bit deeper. When it might tell you to back off a little bit. We're going to stay here for 5 long breaths. So enjoy it. When you're ready, starting to release out of this pose really gradually, walking your hands back, lifting your body upright, sitting tall again, noticing how that felt in your body. Now really slowly, gently, mindfully, making your way down onto your back. Keeping your knees bent. Releasing your weight down. Now making sure your knees are hip-width apart and your feet are hip-width apart as well. And bring your heels so you can just about tickle them if you wish to reach down with your hands. Grounding down through your feet. On your next inhale, lifting your hips up, maybe just a little bit. Finding your bridge pose. Firing up and engaging all along along the back of your legs, your thighs, your glutes, maybe your core even. Keeping your neck neutral. Making sure your knees are not knocking in towards each other or splaying out to the side. Keeping them parallel. And breathing deep into your belly. Staying here for one more breath. And then really gradually, bit by bit, releasing down. Taking your time to come down. And when your sacrum finally touches the floor, bringing your knees towards your chest. Maybe bringing your hands onto your shins. Maybe taking a little rock from side to side, if that feels good on your lower back. Giving your legs a hug. We've done a lot of work today. Be grateful for them. Now extending your legs up towards the ceiling. And again, there might be a bend in your legs. They might not be all the way over your body. But flexing your feet so it's like you're standing on the ceiling. And you can even bring your cushion underneath your lower back if that feels good. Might help to give you a little bit of that lift. Now pointing and flexing your feet. So it's like you're flexing them back towards your face and then pointing your toes towards the ceiling. And if this is too much, you can do it one leg at a time. And just bring the other leg to the floor. Maybe taking some circles with your ankles if that feels good. Maybe just sticking with the point and flex. Or maybe just coming to stillness. If you're doing one leg at a time, swapping now. Noticing how this is feeling. A little bit of playfulness. Now bringing one knee in towards your chest, the other leg is extended towards the ceiling. And then really slowly, with that foot flexed, dropping that leg down. Challenging yourself to how slowly you can lower it. I'm going to move this cushion out from underneath, but you can leave it there if you'd prefer. So you've got one knee hugged in towards you, the other leg is out long. And then bringing that knee that's in towards you across your body and coming to a fold. You can even bring your cushion underneath that knee. Leaving that opposite arm open, maybe it's outstretched, maybe it's bent at the elbow. Maybe taking that gaze over the opposite shoulder to the bent leg. And releasing into your twist. Noticing where you can feel any sensations. Letting your body relax fully. And if there's anywhere that you're holding or clenching, then using any props, making any adjustments to make yourself more comfortable. Maybe closing your eyes or softening your gaze here. Turning your attention inwards. One more breath here. And then bringing that knee back through center. Maybe you give it another squeeze. Drawing both knees up towards your chest. Maybe taking a pause or taking a rock here. And then extending both legs up again so we can come to the other side. Maybe taking a point and flex just for a little bit. Now hugging the other knee in towards your chest, flexing that foot that's raised, and then really slowly lowering that foot down. Oh, you might find a little bit of a shake when you get near the bottom. And once that foot is down on the floor, bringing that knee across your body, coming to your twist. Making any adjustments you need to get more comfortable. And once you've found a comfortable position, releasing fully. One more breath here. Make it a deep one. And then bringing that knee back through center. Bringing both knees up for one more squeeze, hug, or rock. Making any final moves that would feel good for you to finish up this practice before we come to Savasana. For Savasana today, resting pose, I have some options for you. If it feels comfortable and if you've got a space, you could bring your legs up a wall. Or if you've got some furniture, a chair, sofa, bed, you could bring your calves onto the bit of furniture. You could bring your cushion underneath your lower back again, if that feels good. Or if none of this is feeling good, you can stretch your legs out long. So experimenting a bit here, finding a comfortable place for your Savasana, your restful pose. Making any final adjustments, any final twitches or fidgets. And then releasing your body fully. Closing your eyes or softening your gaze. Turning your attention inwards again. We come to this moment of stillness at the end of practice to allow the body to absorb and integrate all the movements we've done today. So this final pose is just as important as any of the other poses. to allow the body to integrate the range of movement, the range of motion we've been practicing into your everyday life. To be able to take the physical practice off the mat and also the stillness of the mental, emotional, spiritual practice. Off the mat as well. So staying in this stillness, this quiet, this surrender for 5 more breaths. And if you have time, you can pause the video and stay in this pose even longer. Starting to deepen your breath now. Broadening your awareness back out to your body. The feeling of your clothes against your skin. Any sounds or smells in the room. Now making some small movements, wiggling your fingers, wiggling your toes, maybe taking a point and a flex again to wake your body back up. If your legs are raised especially, but everyone gradually drawing your knees back in towards your chest. If your legs were raised, noticing any sensations in your feet. Really taking your time here. No rush. And when you're ready, rolling over onto one side, into a fetal position. Pausing here for a moment. Before really gradually, with kindness, bringing yourself up to a seated position once more. Making any movements that feel good here. And then sealing your practice by bringing your palms together in front of your heart space. In gratitude to yourself and to connect you to anyone all over the world, anywhere across the world who might be doing this practice with you. Thank you so much for practicing with me today and for taking this time out of your day to prioritize yourself. If you enjoyed this practice, then you can give this video a thumbs up. You could share it with a friend who might enjoy it as well, and let me know in the comments if you have any requests for future themes of yoga classes that you'd like to see. And make sure you subscribe to this channel for future free yoga classes, as well as all of the other videos that I make. And as I mentioned at the start, if you're interested in menstrual cycle awareness and aligning your yoga practice with your menstrual cycle, then head to the description box for lots more information about that. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you on the mat again soon.